European Cup there, trophy that stands 30 inches high, weighs just 17 pounds, of solid silver with a gold lining, and what a gold lining for Liverpool.
The European Cup, this is what we play for.
Liverpool have worldwide support, and much of it comes from the scenes of Liverpool's heyday in the European Cup.
Words fail me, I've got no voice.
And they are by far the most successful English club in this competition.
Liverpool can be in no doubt that they're not doing this alone. Supporters have made the journey here by plane and by train. They come to seek victory in the greatest prize in European football.
Anfield absolutely rocking.
I don't think I've seen so many red and white flags.
Tonight the ground is empty. Tomorrow night it will be full. 55,000 people cheering their idols on.
Oh, it's going to be a hard day's night if Liverpool get their hands on the European Cup. They do know how to celebrate in that city.
We want to compete for everything.
Scared of nothing.
I don't think anyone needs motivation if we play at Anfield.
As that cross the line, goal! Salishara! Souness! Hello! It might come for Phil Neal. McAllister! Oh, what a goal! And Sadio Mane for Liverpool! Chamberlain! No! Daniel Agger! Oh, it's in! Left foot shot here. Luis Garcia! What an effort! Firmino! Oh, take it quickly, Origi! Michael! What a save! Oh, what a save! Yeah, beauty! It's in! What joy! There you go! Well, he comes to Divock Origi! He's won the European Cup for Liverpool!
Match of play.
They've conquered the continent. They're the best in Europe.
And there it is.
What is it about this football club and the UEFA Champions League?
So many other great players have set the standard so high over here, but we embrace this because that's also what we want.
The unthinkable! The unbelievable!
Hold on, this could be some right. You never know with Liverpool.
Well, it all starts here. Arne Slot takes charge of Liverpool's 50th season in European football. Can they mark that milestone by delivering European Cup number 7? He starts. Alexander Isak makes his Liverpool debut tonight. Is it to be the start of something special alongside Mo Salah in the Reds' attack? It is the 6th-time European Cup winners Liverpool against 3-time beaten finalists Atletico Madrid on match day 1 of this season's Champions League. It gets underway at 8 o'clock tonight. Very good evening to you. Welcome along to Matchday Live. There is that excitement, that crackle in the air that means just one thing. Jason McAteer is here. Good evening.
Well, you roll me out for the big one.
Oh, we absolutely do. We'll get some thoughts from him, some sense from Jay Spearing in just a moment. But as we said, Alexander Isak starts for Liverpool tonight. Let's get the rest of the details on the team that Arne Slot has selected from Mark Benstead.
Whether you call it the European Cup or the Champions League, this competition is now in its 70th year and it remains the pinnacle of club football. It is the tournament that throws up moments of magic, moments of drama, and on occasions makes the impossible possible, as Liverpool fans know only too well. A fresh adventure starts here tonight, and both these sides will hope that it continues all the way until May the 30th next year. That is when the final will take place at the Puskás Arena in Hungary. Both these teams have decent pedigree in the competition in recent years. Since 2014, they've contested a total of 5 finals between them. Last year, both fell in the last 16, and both have aspirations to do better this time round. In an effort to do just that, Arne Slot has spoken about using his squad more in these league phase games, and with one eye on that, he makes 3 changes to his side for tonight from the weekend. And one of those, as you mentioned, includes handing a debut to summer signing Alexander Isak. Liverpool's team in full then is Alisson Becker in goal. A back four of Jeremy Frimpong, Ibu Konate, Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson. Dominic Szoboszlai moves back into midfield alongside Ryan Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai makes his 100th Liverpool appearance here tonight. In front of them, Mohamed Salah, Florian Wirtz and Cody Gakpo. Leading the line, it is that man with all the headlines around him over the summer, Alexander Isak. On the bench, Marmashvili, Woodman, Gomez, Endo, Kirkes, McAllister, Bradley, Leone, Ekitike, Dans and Ngmoa. So that is the Liverpool team for the first Champions League game of this season's tournament, and the fans have got what they wanted. Isak is in from the off.
Very much indeed, yeah. Alexander Isak is in from the off, kept in the cupboard on Sunday at Turf Moor. I mean, you are in and around the squad, Jay. Just how fit is he?
He was fit last week. He's probably had a pre-season like no other. He's probably been doing a lot of individual work, but I think Jason will be able to reoccur this, that the fact that training on your own is completely different to training in a team and doing, work and playing in games, playing in matches, games in training as well. So we had a couple of sessions with him in the international window before when he first came back, and some of the players were still away. We managed to get a good little bit of work into his legs and a lot of finishing, which he's incredible at. A little glimpse of what he could do. But no, listen, I think the manager obviously trusts the process with his fitness staff, with Ruben. He trusts him with everything that he does on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sure they'll be exactly on the watching the iPad as the game goes on, and they'll monitor his minutes and decide on when the right time is to take him off or leave him on for.
It's been an extremely difficult time for him personally, and something that got played out quite vocally in the media, in the public eye, and it has been difficult to move. Everyone seems to have had an opinion whether it's right or wrong, but he's managed to get his move. He's here now. I think there was expectation that he was going to play at the weekend, but I think it was right just to keep him out, let the dust settle, and then maybe bring him in tonight for, like Jay said, play a bit part. I know he starts, but they probably know what his minutes are going to be, and then they'll probably take him off. But he just wants to get back playing football. We know his quality, we know what he can do, and he'll be a big player for this football club. He's got competition for places, so it'll be interesting to see how the manager manages that scenario, because he has created a big problem for himself, because Ekitike has played really well since he's been here.
And because of that and the way that Ekitike has started, you said it was the right decision to leave him out at Burnley. Was it an easier decision because Ugo Ekitike has started so well also?
Yeah, and I think for the player, for Ekitike, I think you need to protect that. He's got to feel as much as wanted as what Isak is. He knows that Isak's there to play down the middle. He'll want to play down the middle himself, so he's not going to give up that position easily. And he's come probably knowing, with he's watching as well as everybody else, that this player may come to Liverpool. And I think his performances have been outstanding. And I think maybe there's a touch of, well, I'm here to play. I'm not here to sit on the bench. And if he wants this position, he's going to have to fight me for it. And I think his performances have warranted that. I think it would have been disappointing to see him out the team.
It probably would have been a lot easier for the manager if he hadn't scored a couple of goals. As anyone, if you're not scoring goals as number 9, and you're an easy decision. That's your argument, isn't it? But now, he scored in most of his games, apart from obviously the Burnley one. So he will be disappointed he's not involved. But then, like we say, there will be. You're expecting Alex to be on certain minutes, so he will come on, and he's probably going to go, you know what, when I come on I'm going to make an impact and try and score another goal.
You touched on some of the drills that he's been doing in training and what he's done so far. From looking at him at close quarters, how good is he?
He's incredible. You can see he's a natural finisher. Any time he gets in and around the box, it's a natural finish. He doesn't look rushed. It's always calm. He can finish off his left, his right. He's obviously got the height and the pace as well to be able to cause problems. Probably a nice little way of bedding him in. We were unopposed. We wanted to get the ball in the box and finding them habits of finding the back of the net. And he seemed to really enjoy it. And over the last couple of days, he's been working with the first team players against real players and real defenders as well. So it's been a lot for him. But hopefully he can hit the ground running tonight.
Talking of hitting the ground running, Atletico fans just arrived to the right-hand side of our studio. They're just banging into each other like some sort of warm-up for a Six Nations game. But good to have them here, and I'm sure it's a similar style that Diego Simeone's team might adopt at times. Jason, how often do you think that the manager will play them both together, Ekitike and Isak, in the same team?
That's a big question, isn't it? Because how are you going to get them in? I think the formation is, he's tweaked it somewhat, but it's still very much maybe a 4-3-3. Maybe a lone striker at a time. We play a 4-2-3-1 where we've seen Ekitike play up top on his own. Isak will want to play down the middle. Listen, at that price tag, he's not going to want to come and play left or right. And Mo Salah's going to have something to say about the right. So you're looking at Cody Gakpo if you're going to have to get them both in the team. And I've got to be honest, I think Cody Gakpo's his performances have been okay since the start of the season. So he won't want to give up that position. And the difficulty is, like, players, the modern day player, they're not like when we played. We wanted to play every game. There's an acceptance now for players where they go, right, am I going to be rested? Yeah, there's a rotation system in place. But the big ones like tonight, you want to play. You want to play. So the manager's big job is keeping them all happy. That's the big job he's got on his hands.
Just on the other changes then, both at full back with Andy Robertson back into the team. Now, you can speculate, and we might not ever know unless Arne Slot says so pre-match as to whether he would have played tonight anyway, but it was a tricky afternoon for Milos Kerkez at Turf Moor.
Yeah, I think since he's come in, I've quite liked him. You know, defensively 1v1. If you look back at the games, no one's ever really done him on a 1v1. For me, this is the moment that made it really difficult for the manager then to, you know, in that split second there, he's made a decision that, you know, he felt that he was going to get contact. He never. Okay, it is what it is. But then the next one, as soon as you make a foul, and for me, I felt it was outstanding management. You know, the crowd suddenly got up every time he got on the ball or he made contact with an opponent. He made that one right on the halfway line. Could people question, was he one-on-one? Did he deserve to get a second yellow? I didn't think so. But for me, you know, when he walks off the pitch, I think the manager, you know, shakes hands with him and explains, listen, your next one, you're going to be in trouble. We couldn't do it for the team, and he obviously talks about the crowd as well. Was it an easy decision for tonight? I think so. You know, it's a huge game. Is he a little bit inexperienced in European competitions? Maybe. Robbo's been there and done it. You know, he's played through all around and in big games. And has the manager looked at it and gone, you know what, I'm maybe going down the road a little bit of experience tonight rather than the youth of Kerkez?
I think he's had a difficult start. You know, he comes with big expectations from what we've seen at Bournemouth. You know, he's very good on the ball, but I think off the ball, I think he's struggled positional-wise. Decision-making as well has not been great. He got done at Newcastle, obviously, for the goal. And then at the weekend, it was a really tough afternoon for him. We've seen it with Andy Robertson, with Jurgen Klopp. He came into the team, struggled a little bit, and Jurgen took him out the team. You know, that's not to say he's never going to get back in. He's not going to be the first choice left back. He is. You know, I think Andy Robertson's resigned to the fact now he's going to play a bit part, and Kerkez is the number one left back. But at times, when it's difficult, like Jay said, it's right to take him out. This is a massive club with expectations of the highest order. You know, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get up to speed. And I think tonight, I actually thought it might have been Arsenal he was taken out, but he was given the opportunity, done okay. But tonight, after the weekend, the manager feels, yeah, maybe.
I think he's got to adjust as well for me, because he's come from Bournemouth where he was a flying fullback. Yeah. You know, he was up and down the pitch all the time. Where, you know, he's coming to a side where last year Robertson and Costi was kind of like tucked in a little bit with serving, rather than getting around them. He was serving, where now he's having to adapt to become that player. So it's a bit of a balance. Can he do both? So yeah, there will be moments where he will struggle, but I think over time he'll become good.
We've seen some of the significant moments involving the two left-backs from the weekend. Let's have a look at the rest of the highlights from Burnley as Liverpool left it late in Lancashire.
A cold, wet day in East Lancashire greets Liverpool on their return to Premier League action. Liverpool get back at it in the Premier League and looking to maintain their perfect start to the season. Towards Konate, who was right in there with Dubravka. Looked a bit of a lunge from Ugochukwu. It's going to be yellow. Soboslai jumping, and the volley was by Ryan Gravenberch. Lovely little turn, twisting and turning. Soboslai. Oh, it's a really good save by Dubravka. Bits, lovely turn. And he's going to get a second yellow card followed by a red. And Gumoa, Frimpong. Saved by Dubravka. Frimpong. Oh, they're appealing for handball. It's a penalty to Liverpool. The ball is handed to Mohamed Salah. He's done it so many times before, and he's done it once again at Turf Moor.
Well, I started my interview with Arne Slot on Sunday by asking this question to Jason, so I'll ask you the same one.
Oh, thanks.
He probably could answer it better, but we'll give it a shot with you. This habit of late goals, you could see it as a good thing that Liverpool keep doing it. You could see it as maybe a slight negative that they've needed late goals in all 4 matches so far to get them over the line.
Ooh, how do I answer that? Listen, you don't want to keep doing it. It shows great character. I think since the Premier League started, I've seen a stat today, Liverpool have scored 47 goals, which is miles more than maybe 32, which is second for goals after the 90th minute. So it tells you about the character of the football club, and obviously what Jurgen Klopp and other managers have installed in this team, that they go right to the end. So, you know, we're not alien to a late goal, but the manner in which we've started the season, where we've needed it so many times. Listen, on paper we sit top 12 points, it looks great, 1 clean sheet, maybe that could have been better.
2 clean sheets.
Sorry, 2 clean sheets. But when you delve into it, you know, it's, you know, we conceded 2 when we're 2-0 up at Bournemouth, against Bournemouth, 2 at Newcastle, then we need Mo Salah, last minute winner. You can't keep doing it. You know, you've got to start dominating games, get yourself in front and put them to bed. You'd either score a second or a third, go on and win it, or you shut up shop and make yourself hard to beat. You know, you can only drop 4 or 5 games in the Premier League, and then you're out the race. That's what history will tell you over the last 5 or 6 seasons. You know, Liverpool will get undone, you know, sooner rather than later. Jay used the word before, adapting. You know, we've got 4 or 5 new faces in the team. They're not just, you know, squad players, they're actually playing in the team. It's gonna take time, but while we're not playing well, winning is a bonus, and as long as we keep doing that, keep showing that character until we clicks, because it will click and someone will get a good hiding and we'll show everyone this is what we're all about. You know, winning late, we'll take it.
And that is the point, Jay, that, as Jason said, the league table looks pretty good at Liverpool 4 from 4. It's only the 3rd time they've done that in the Premier League era as well. Adaptability then, is it almost more difficult for Arne Slot? Even though last season was his first in the Premier League, it was almost like he made a conscious effort to keep things similar to Jurgen Klopp, whereas this is full Slot now with different players. You think of a couple of positions where the personnel makes it different. So whoever's going to play at right back isn't Trent. Wirtz, if he's going to play at 10, is very different to Dominic Szoboszlai, who played there most of the last season. So there are a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and you know, you could see over time he's starting now to build in the players that he wants and the way that he wants to build and how he wants to play. I feel that with all these moving parts, there was always going to be a little bit of a thing where they need to gel, because you brought in that many players. Like 4 or 5 changes to a starting 11 is a huge thing, where we've seen a lot last year. It was maybe like 1 change every now and again, where now we've gone from, we're having Dom at right back, you know, we're overloading the middle of the park. Wirtz is a completely different player, like you say, from a Dom who was always you'd call him like a bit of a press setter, so he would always jump from midfield and go and press forward. Hugo was completely different as well, you know, as a Diaz or a Diogo. You know, they're completely different types of players. So these players are now trying to gel with the players that are already here as well. So it's not just the new players that are trying to gel, it's the old players trying to gel with the new. So yeah, it's going to take time, but for me, it's like the way that we're wearing teams down, we are always going to create chances. So the 4 games from 4 where we nick late goals, I don't see that really as a huge negative. I feel as if like we're being patient, we're working them, we're driving them, we're wearing them down to a point where they just simply can't defend or go no more. I get the 2 goals slip at Newcastle, but they were like, you know, they were a long ball up top, they were a long throw in second phase. But I believe that like the team is slowly starting to go, and I totally agree with Jason that once this team clicks, for me, they're going to give people hidings after hidings, and I hope, like, by the way, that's the best bit about it. But right now, when things are still growing and the team are growing, the squad are growing, and we're winning games of football, I don't see why everybody's jumping on it as if like, oh, Liverpool just aren't good enough at the minute.
I think in possession, I don't think there's a problem. You know, I think, and Jay's right. I mean, footballers create relationships. You know, I was creating relationships with Steve McManaman, you know, with Robbie Fowler. You just know Mark Wright behind me. You have an understanding. It takes time to get that, and then trust comes into it. You know that they're going to be there. I'll go forward without even looking because I know Mark Wright's going to be behind me. And it's just trust, and that comes over time. I think with the ball, it's easier to create relationships and create understandings. I think without the ball, it's a lot more difficult, and I think that's the problem with Liverpool. It's out of possession. It's where players need to be when they're out of possession. It's when they press and they don't all press together, and all of a sudden, good teams. Now, every team in the Premier League can play now. They can hurt you. They can go through the lines. They can be quick. They can be dominant, and they can mix it up. If they want to go long, Jay just touched there. You know, not every team's going to play little tippy-tappy football around Liverpool. They're going to go long and ask you questions. Liverpool play a high line. You know, AC Milan in pre-season undone Liverpool. 3 of the 4 goals goals they scored were identical. They cut through the lines and pasted them. You know, that's a blueprint for teams. They'll look at that. You know, the analysts will look at that and they'll give the manager the blueprint and they'll go, right, that's how we think we should play. And Liverpool have been done a couple of times out of possession. They're the relationships with each other that they've got to figure out. Right, if I go then you drop. You know, it's simple. It is simple, but it takes time.
But Jay was saying there that there has been some perception, and obviously social media is usually a terrible barometer for people's thoughts. Yeah. But you know, a lot of fans from other teams saying, "Oh, lucky Liverpool." Whereas you do wonder whether in their offices, someone like Mikel Arteta or Pep Guardiola is thinking, "Uh-oh, they're 4 from 4 and they haven't got going yet. We don't want to get behind. We don't want to let Liverpool have 5-7 points because, as we saw last season, they got that lead and they kept it until the job was done."
Of course, you don't want anyone, you know, going too far and then you're clawing the gap back.
But particularly a team that are changing a little bit, where you do know that the best is yet to come.
You don't win a league title without an element of luck. I feel Liverpool's luck is maybe now. You know, no one says when you get it. You know, I feel they have been lucky in a few of the games. I'm not questioning their commitments and their character, of course not, and certainly the leadership. Listen, like we said before, the foundations are built on that. You know, Liverpool, this football club, is built on character. So you know they'll win more than they lose, and you know they'll score more last-minute winners because they keep going to the end. So it's just tactically, it's just tactics, and we've just said it there. You know, when that clicks, the manager knows what he's doing. Now he's got an unbelievable, talented squad. These players. You know, I'm quite critical of footballers not figuring things out themselves. I think Liverpool have got a lot of players who do actually figure problems out themselves on the pitch. You know, Virgil van Dijk, the leadership in this team is fantastic. Without leadership, you get nowhere. I think there's a lot of leaders still in this football club, and they'll figure it out. They will get there and they'll figure it out. And once it clicks and once they feel comfortable, teams are going to be on the end of a hiding.
Jason said there that Liverpool is built on character. It also is built on nights like this, underneath the lights at Anfield, European opposition, some of the best in the continent in town. That is very much the case with Atletico Madrid. Kick-off at 8 o'clock with commentary coming from John Aldridge and Steve Hunter, who is inside the ground for us. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, Rob. How are you doing? Hello, folks. This is a proud season for Liverpool because this is our 50th season in Europe. My word, have we seen some nights here under those Anfield lights, haven't we? Incredible, spine-tingling, never-to-be-forgotten moments. Absolutely unbelievable. The ground is buzzing here. You're coming in, you know, Isak starting on his full debut for Liverpool, his debut for the club. It's a big moment, isn't it? It really is. Can he follow in the footsteps of legends who have scored on their debut as a Liverpool player? We'll wait and see with great interest tonight, of course. Atletico Madrid, of course, under Diego Simeone, we know how tough a team they are to play against, don't we? You know, they don't make it easy for opposition teams, and why should they either? They've got a way of playing, and he's done a brilliant job his time as a manager. Don't forget, we have met Atletico Madrid a few times before at Anfield. Do you remember the one before the pandemic when Jurgen Klopp called it one of the best performances he'd seen to date by a Liverpool team? And the Reds were absolutely brilliant that night. Remember, Robbo hit the bar. We missed absolutely all sorts of chances. Then it went to extra time, and Morata, who used to play for Chelsea, of course, you remember, scoring in extra time with that one. And little did we know at the time that that was to be the last time at Anfield with fans for a long, long time. So different now, and long may that continue, folks. But we have beaten Atletico since then, and a guy who will be missed by both sets of supporters, Diogo Jota, forever etched, number 20, played for both Atletico and Liverpool, scored, opened the scoring here, he got the UEFA Man of the Match. Jota, enjoy and relive again our beloved Diogo.
Henderson. Salah. Henderson. Alexander-Arnold. Oh, Diogo Jota, goal! Beautiful. Just that straightforward ball whipped across the defence, and Diogo Jota says thank you very much. Henderson. Alexander-Arnold. He's going to fire, and Mane's there and scores. It's 2-0 to Liverpool. It's the perfect start again. Koke just got the ball caught underneath his feet, which meant that he didn't really get anything on his... Now then, that's got to be yellow for Felipe. Nothing the referee can do here apart from show yellow. In fact, it's red. The referee feels that it was dangerous foul play. That's forward, and it's Diogo Jota, and it is another goal for Liverpool, and they are carving Atletico Madrid to pieces, and it won't count, and it must have been so close. Liverpool have the ball, and Mohamed Salah's running clear. Saved, and it's not going to go in. It's a brilliant clearance off the line. Tsimikas with the corner, and Joe Matip! Oh, he misses what was a little bit of a sitter. Tsimikas trying to run away from Correa, and he does it easily. And Jota! Well, he could have had a hat-trick. And comes to Suarez. Oh, it's deflected in! And Luis Suarez has got a goal back and scored at Anfield. It's offside, and it's not going to count. And this is Alexander-Arnold. Can they finish it off with a goal? It's Divock Origi. It comes to Jordan Henderson, and Oblak, so well positioned. They've won the group with 2 games to go. Sensational group phase from Liverpool. Liverpool 2, Atletico Madrid 0.
Yeah, 4 recent meetings between Liverpool and Atletico Madrid with varying levels of success. 2 players have featured in all 4 of those games, Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk, and the captain spoke yesterday to Peter McDowell.
Well, Virgil, tell us about the targets for Champions League for Liverpool this season.
Well, I think similar as last year. Obviously, we try to, win every competition that we are participating in, and Champions League is definitely one of our dreams and goals. And we know how difficult that is. I think we had a great, obviously, group stage last year. But we then faced a team that was just the standard last season. They were the top team in the world, and that was part of last year. And this year we have to try and do the same in the group stages and be better, obviously, in the knockout stages. So that's the aim.
You played in the last 4 against Atletico Madrid, and I know they've not had the best of starts, but you'll prepare for the best version of them, and they can be really awkward opponents.
Yeah, they're difficult. They're difficult to play against. They're a team that obviously well organised, disciplined, never give up, always keep going, and they have experienced players that obviously don't get faced pretty quickly by anything, and they have the quality, of course. In my eyes, the goalkeeper obviously is a fantastic goalkeeper, Griezmann, Coque. There are so many players that can make a difference, and we have to be ready. We have to be ready for a big challenge, big battle, and something that we all look forward to. That's at least the feeling I'm getting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
What's impressed you most about your team so far this season?
Well, obviously, there's so many things, going on, from obviously pre-season up until now, and we're trying to find consistency. And what pleased me the most, I think, is that we always try to find a way to win. We're resilient, we keep going and try and find consistency, and it's not an easy thing. If you look at if you analyze the last 4 games that we played, there is definitely a progress that is pleasing to see, and hopefully from now on we can get going and let everyone be important.
Just finally, that momentum that comes with winning, there's still room to improve. It's a great place to be in at the moment.
For sure, and everyone has to stick to that mindset of keep going, and we need everyone. We need everyone. Guys obviously may not play one game, and the next game they have to be ready, and everyone understand that in the end of the day it's all about doing it together in order to be successful. And it's a team thing, and everyone understands that, and let's go for it.
And they will hope for something similar to last season, which was 7 straight wins at the start of the group stage. It is interesting as to how significant that is, because unfortunately Liverpool got the bad luck of the draw, I suppose you would say, in running into Paris Saint-Germain, who went on to be absolutely brilliant second part of the season and went on to win it.
Yeah, listen, we were all brand new to it last year. We were kind of like ifing and ahhing how many points would we need to obviously go through and be clear. Who would we end up getting in the draw? Did we want to finish first, or but priority was obviously to finish in the top 8. we fell short with the draw. We didn't know exactly how it was going to work, and yeah, we came up against a team that, you know, didn't start too well in it, but then ended up going on to win it. It was a fantastic 2 legs, and to go out on the way that we did over penalties was a real tough blow. But if you're going to lose to someone and be knocked out by someone, you'd rather it be the winners, and they went on to, you know, dominate the rest of the tournament. And yeah, this year round, will it be different? You know, you want to start well with a win. You know, you want to get a couple of points on the board to make maybe the later bits in the round a little bit, like, not important, but you know what I mean, a little bit more, like, less stress to them. But do you want to go and finish first? Now, you know, you can finish first or second, it may change. But yeah, as long as you're in the top 8, I'm sure that the manager will be happy. But a good start tonight would obviously go put us in good stead.
They were unfortunate. You know, Paris found the on-switch, didn't he? Just as Liverpool had qualified top. They only lost 1 game, didn't he? Which was the final one where they made changes. They were comfortably through. I think UEFA have looked at that. I think there's been a slight tweak to the rules where I think now if you finish first or second, you play the rest of the knockout stage second leg at home. So that's the kind of advantage that they're trying to give to somebody. It was unfortunate. Like I said, Paris, they just hit the ground running. But, you know, I like the new model. I think it needed change, and I think, you know, the Super League that was on, you know, we talked about a few seasons ago. I think UEFA had to sit down, UEFA, FIFA, all the governing bodies sit down and protect, you know, what they had, and they came up with this format, and I think it's been good. I think every round has served us some big fixtures. There's obviously a lot more football. I'm not sure the players are too keen on more games, more minutes, but you know, it's making a lot of money, and hopefully that filters down the football pyramid. But you know, for the competition, I thought it worked well last season. I felt sorry for Liverpool, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, just a reminder of the games at Anfield last season. Liverpool won all 4 of them, and it all started against the Serie A side Bologna, a 2-0 victory for Liverpool on that occasion. Bologna not in the Champions League this season. They will play in the Europa League. But Liverpool started off with a pretty comfortable victory against a side playing in Europe's elite competition for the first time, and they found an elite man in their path. A brilliant goal from Mo Salah, who comes into this season with 50 European goals for Liverpool in just 85 appearances. Well, Luis Diaz was undoubtedly the star of the show as Liverpool welcomed a very familiar face back to Anfield in Xabi Alonso, but it was a superb second half performance from the Reds, and in particular from Diaz. Cody Gakpo got the second, but then the Colombian got the second and third of his night to complete an excellent hat-trick against the then Bundesliga champions. So that was 2 from 2 at home. This is how Diaz finished the job. That was the fish course. As for the main event, well, that was Real Madrid, and Liverpool put them to the sword as well. One of the great moments was a crunching tackle from Conor Bradley on Kylian Mbappe. That night it was Alexis McAllister that got things up and running for Liverpool, and Cody Gakpo made it 2-0. And then 8 group fixtures, remember, last season and this season as well. So another home game for Liverpool in January. Mo Salah got the first against French club Lille. Lille equalised, and Liverpool found a way through via a deflection from the now departed Harvey Elliott. And then it all came down to a game against Paris Saint-Germain. Liverpool had won the first leg in Paris. This was the goal that took the tie to extra time and eventually to penalties as well. And Darwin Núñez with the decisive spot kick. Gianluigi Donnarumma, now of Manchester City, made the save from him. Curtis Jones also denied by the Italian, and that was the end of Liverpool's charge. So we will hope for better this year, including the Anfield Wrap's Neil Atkinson, who has shimmied in to join us in the studio. Good evening.
Good evening. What a lovely evening as well.
Isn't it a nice evening? Is it the sort of evening that gets the juices flowing?
Yes, it feels very European. Well done for the evening.
Good.
It's pulled it off. You know, you've got the clouds sort of speckling across there. The sun's coming down. Listen, this is, you want one of these again. You want one of these again in March and in April. At the point at which the sun's doing this, and you know you're going to get a big night, and that's what tonight's about. It's about building towards that. It's not easy tonight. You know, these are a good sides, and also we know there'll be, for want of a better phrase, absolute dogs at every stage of this.
That's a phrase that is acceptable at this time of the evening on television as well.
It's acceptable. I think it's acceptable in the UEFA coaching handbooks when they do the, you know, all the panels that, for instance, you know, the late great Gerard Houllier used to sit on, they would say absolute dogs percentage, and we know we're going to get that tonight. It's dead interesting what they've picked. You know, they haven't even picked Saul off. They haven't brought Alvarez. They've picked Raspadoni, I think his name is, up top, who plays a false nine, they're just going to drop here. And they're going to say to Liverpool, what are you going to do? But that's the challenge, and that's also what European clubs bring you. I'm excited about tonight, before you even get into the selection.
Jason touched on the...
Such a romantic guy.
I love all of it. All the boys.
I can't believe you got into the seat so quietly. I've never heard you so quiet.
They're all my favourite player on nights like tonight. They're all my favourite guys.
It's the magic of television, Jason, the way that he just moved in. Jason was talking actually just as you arrived about the format. Do you like it as well as a fan?
Yes, but also I think it's fairer. So I think in a way, there's one way it helps Liverpool, which I'll come on to, but I think in other ways, go back 2 seasons, I know they're not our best friends at the moment, but Newcastle were a pot 4 team. They've got a group with Paris Saint-Germain, with AC Milan and Dortmund in. I mean, my God, they have big nights, don't get me wrong, but to get out of that group is so hard. Now we all play 2 pot 1 teams, we all play 2 pot 2 and so on and so forth all the way down. So I think it's fairer. Currently, it's still not ideal, because how on earth can it be? You know, you play different teams home, different teams away. There's no perfect solution. Why I think it helps the Reds, and not just the Reds, but I think it helps the English teams, is that the English teams that are in pot 3 and pot 4 are really strong. We know they're really strong. We know Newcastle are really strong. So, for instance, tomorrow night, Barcelona go to Newcastle. Listen, I'm not that interested in Galatasaray, but if Newcastle was your pot 4 team, you'd be thinking, oh, God, we've picked a short straw in this one. So, it's still not perfect, and that'll take some ironing out over the period of time. But, no, I think it is better. I think it's fairer. I think it gives everyone an equal chance. And last season, the French teams, not just Paris Saint-Germain, but all the French teams did really well, because they understood it and they committed to it, and they found their way through. But it's also why tonight matters. There'll be a lot of talk, because last season we finished top and it didn't go for us the way we'd want. Well, maybe you don't need to finish top. I think that's a conversation, but the way you decide where you do or don't want to put your resources is by winning the first 2 games. If you win the first 2 games and you've got a bit of an injury crisis or a tough game at the weekend, and you say, you know what, Frankfurt away, we won't send all the best lads, we'll rest a couple.
But they're all your favourite lads.
Well, they're all my favourite lads, and whoever plays with my favourite lad. But within there, what you're then able to do is you're able to play the card of, you know what, we've been clever, we boxed clever in this one. But the best way to box clever is to have points on the board. You know, Liverpool have got a nightmare one away at Inter Milan in December. You don't really want to go to Marseille desperate, if we're honest. But to do that, you've got to get the points now. Tonight's massive. You know, I think tonight is really important, because you don't want to finish outside the top 8. You don't want 2 games in February against an opponent you can't control. So tonight is really, really important. They win tonight, they win in Galatasaray, which will be dead hard, by the way. Suddenly they're on 6 points and they control their own destiny.
We spoke about Liverpool wanting to deliver European Cup at number 7 come the end of the season. Well, the man who won number 5 is here tonight. Rafa Benitez will be amongst those watching on at Anfield, who oversaw that incredible night in Istanbul. I'm sure he would love to see Liverpool win another, and maybe passing on a couple of words of wisdom about European competition to Arne, who of course has won a decent bit of silverware of his own. You were going to come in.
I was just going to mention the format as well. At the end of the day, you know, there was no real big surprise. I think it was only Brest who went through all the cream, went to the top.
They found their way through in the end.
They found their way through, yeah. I think where the format is great for the smaller teams is obviously the financial gain that they get. Then they can improve their squad and they can come back again this year, more money and they can develop more. So they get stronger and stronger. So for the weaker teams that are in this competition, it is really beneficial for them.
There's also something in this which is, you know, football as it gets more complicated can at times never get more simple. Win your home games. At any level of football, if you win your home games, you know, you secure so much just by winning your home games, and tonight is one of them, and that's why tonight's massive. You don't want to be going to Galatasaray feeling like you're a bit snookered at that stage of proceedings, and then it's worth saying your game after that's away at Frankfurt. You know, you want, if you win your home games at any level of football, you're always going to be in with a shout of doing something, and tonight's a great example of it. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, because they know that as well. Atletico Madrid.
Should we finish on the selection then, given how excited you are? The combination of lads that have been picked tonight. I imagine you're talking about the Swede up front.
Yeah, it's exciting to see him tonight, but we shouldn't get too carried away. There's every chance he plays 55 minutes and looks a bit short. I think it's important to allow him that. I don't expect him to feature against the Blues, unfortunately. So
at all?
He might come off the bench, but more, you know, I think that from the start, I think he probably gets there for his next start next week against Southampton, and then we're building him towards Palace, towards Chelsea, probably. It's going to be good to see him, but it's important not to act as though if today it doesn't quite come off, then something's fallen short. It's been interesting in recent weeks, because there's a little bit of people being a little bit critical of Florian Wirtz. First and foremost, I thought he was very good second half against Arsenal, and I thought he fought for his life against Newcastle in what was an absolute nightmare of a football match. And then I thought the second half against Burnley, he came to life as well. We need to allow the footballers, especially those who play through the middle of the pitch, where there's the most numbers, where it's toughest, that it'll just take a little bit of time to get yourself together. Any Liverpool wins good tonight. If Liverpool win tonight because Mo Salah scores too, because Alexander-Isak's dragging the attention of centre-halves, it doesn't mean he's played badly. And it doesn't mean he's not going to contribute for Liverpool. I think we need to allow the lads at the minute just to get through these games. Bournemouth are attacking well. No one else in the country is. I even include Arsenal. Bournemouth are attacking well because they didn't buy a single attacker. They've still got that same understanding from last season. Everyone else wanted a big number 9, wanted a forwards, wanted a number 10, wanted a wide player. They've got them. But now you've got to work out how you play them. And that's going to take a little bit of time. And it's easier for managers, as I'm sure Jay can say, to coach a defence than it is to coach an attack. At the minute, we just need to give everyone a little bit of a breathing space, and if Liverpool keep putting points on the board, which hopefully they do tonight, even if it's a moment of genius rather than brilliant attacking play that comes through everyone, whatever it takes to get results at the minute, because we need to be fluent October, November. Last season's tournament, Paris Saint-Germain come through the additional knockout, and the reason why is because they were working out how to play together, and then they were brilliant January to May. At the minute, you stay alive, you hang in games, you can put points on the board, and then hopefully we see the benefits in January.
Neil, thank you very much. Go and enjoy the evening, because I know you're a big fan of the evening. You're going to enjoy the evening.
I've already been enjoying the evening. I'm going to go enjoy it more.
Good, thank you very much. If you've been enjoying watching us and you want to watch on LFC TV but you're not signed up, liverpoolfc.com/watch has all the details of what you need to do to sign up. But let's just point you in the direction of what else is coming your way between now and 8 o'clock. We will hear from the Liverpool head coach, Arne. Then it is full audio commentary from Steve Hunter and John Aldridge, and then Jay and Jason will be back with me at 10 o'clock, and we'll also get reaction from inside the tunnel as well at Anfield. A little bit further on from that then, you can catch up with the same show during the Reaction podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, download that a little bit later on tonight. The full match is available on All Red from midnight, and then tomorrow on our Facebook and YouTube channels, all the behind the scenes content is available on Inside Anfield.